Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So this is the sequel to the 2018 Into the Spider-Verse film. I've got it up there. I remember seeing the first one and thinking, this is probably one of the best Spider-Man films I've ever seen. It was amazing from an animation standpoint. It was so much fun with the story. And it just had a load of the Spider-Man characters. But it did the coming of age story of Miles Morales really well, and it didn't feel like a lazy trope. So when there was going to be a sequel, obviously I was excited, and I thought, yep, cannot wait, really looking forward to it. Some of the marketing here, I think that was 6 months or so ago, and yep, still excited. And then I went to see it. Wow, okay. I loved it. I did. I really loved it. I thought it was incredibly fun. It felt long. It's probably like a 2.5 hour film. It felt long. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed seeing some of the characters. The best thing about it, without a doubt, was the art direction. The different Spider-Men, women, and their universes had an individual art style. And it felt very comic booky. I've not read too much Ghost Spider-Gwen. But from what I've seen of it, the books are very watercoloured and quite like airbrushed, essentially. So within her world, it was exactly like that, and it was very kind of fluorescent. Spider-Punk was very kind of harsh, jagged, and again, very, very sort of like 1970s, like Sex Pistols, which is what the character is kind of based upon. Miles, for as long as the film seemed, Miles, I don't think really got as much screen time as I was thinking he would, being the titular character essentially. But there's a lot of things that's given throughout the film, especially like when you get to the end. There's a lot of things thrown out that really make you question everything that's happened in the original film. So from that aspect, it's very, very clever. The music, it was good, but there wasn't a defining moment for me. Was it the Post Malone song from the first one? That will always remind me of Spider-Verse. It will always. And I don't think there was that moment for me in the sequel. Another thing. This is a Spider-Man film where you have multiple different Spider-Men and women. And you could literally do anything you wanted with any of the characters. And they have an Indian Spider-Man who was really good. He was so much fun. And then you have a black Spider-Woman who, for me, she looks like Riri Williams. An older version of Riri Williams from the comics. And I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Call her Riri Williams. Yeah, cool. In this alternate dimension, Riri Williams, instead of being Ironheart, ends up being Spider-Woman. Cool, fine. But they didn't do that. They made her Jessica Drew, and they made her pregnant. Which, if I remember right, I think is a Dennis Hallam comic that he writes Jessica Drew being pregnant. Now, I don't like the fact that it shows a pregnant superhero, because it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. But I don't understand why they couldn't have just called her Riri Williams. I don't get it. But there's a few characters that I think like that. There was no need to yeah, do the race swap. But other than that, this film was really good. And I am really looking forward to the next one. Luckily, we don't have to wait too long. We've only got a 1 year wait. I think it's coming out like March or April or so next year. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's gonna end the trilogy really, really well. Who knows? They might end up doing more. I really don't know. I will say, for anyone who is a fan of Marvel or a fan of Spider-Man, you will get a lot of enjoyment out of this film. There are so many Easter eggs. There's so many things that you can point out. And I don't want to ruin any of them. But I will say my favourite moment is Donald Glover. That's definitely up there. But other than that, if you're not a big, like, hardcore fan of Spider-Man or Marvel, there might not be much here for you. I think people might consider this film as overly long. And it does end on a cliffhanger. But for me, I feel like there's enough of a story arc with a few of them. But there's not enough to have a film on its own, in its own merit. It definitely feels like half a film. And so from that aspect, if you have someone that's not interested in Marvel, not interested in Spider-Man, that's going in just to keep their spouse, their children, whatever, entertained, they might come out feeling a little bit deflated, a little bit bored. But for anyone else, I think you'll get a massive kick out of this. It's so much fun, and I cannot recommend it enough. But please, if you have seen, I want to say Beyond. No, it's not Beyond, it's Across. If you have seen Across the Spider-Verse, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Say if you agree or disagree with me, because I'd be really interested to hear from everyone. Please be respectful. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all in the next video.